Get your tickets now at bumbershoot.com.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. We now join our regularly scheduled programming on Seattle Sports. From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
Welcome, everybody. It's Wyman and Bob live at T-Mobile Park. Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com. I hope everybody's having a great day out there. If you're a Mariner fan, obviously it's not the best day in the world. So much so that Dave Wyman was here and he just took off. I don't know where he went. Do we know where he went, Lefko? Just here talking to myself.
I don't know.
It just
went to find other materials.
All right.
To help himself out here.
All right. Hey, don't worry about the broadcast. We'll just chat here. But big news, it was that the Mariners did not do well on this homestand. So I don't. Does it matter which spot he's in, Lefko? This one? Okay. Let's get on that headset there. Yeah, bad homestand for the Mariners. We'll get into some of that. We'll give you our conversation we had with Leo Rivas that we recorded earlier or after the show. But the big news of the day for most people, Dave, is the release of the Seahawks schedule. It's out there, and there's some interesting moments on it, most notably, and I know as a guy like you that loves preseason football.
Yes, I do.
You love it.
We could spend an entire 10 minutes talking about the preseason.
I know. Listeners would love that, breaking down the preseason schedule. But
I think we did that a couple of years ago. It didn't go over well.
Yeah, it was poorly received. But this is interesting that they open against Pete Carroll and the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, it seems like they play the Raiders every year in preseason. But,
proximity.
Yeah, but now there's an added interest because the former head coach is there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Pete kind of broke the news this morning on Brock and Salk, so that was kind of funny. Pete doing, like, oh, sorry, was I not supposed to say that? But anyway, yeah, it's every year it used to be San Francisco, that we would play when we weren't in the same division. So, yeah, it doesn't make it's not like super mystifying. We've been to Kansas City in the preseason, but they're playing here. And then, at Green Bay again, which maybe I can go out there and figure out what drew 750,000 people over the draft weekend. But yeah, so there's your preseason.
Yeah, there's some interesting takeaways though outside of the intrigue of facing Pete Carroll and the Raiders to open preseason football. You open the regular season at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Right out of the gate, you go up against your hated division rival, and you close the season with the 49ers. It's the first game and it's the last game of the season. At home to open, on the road in San Francisco to close. So that was the first thing that stands out.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is just that where's San Francisco going to be? I mean, it looked for a while there like they were, and I would say this from the Seahawks perspective, right up to the point where that second game occurred. I mean, they got killed in that first matchup last year, which was that a Sunday night or a Thursday night? But yeah, it just looked like that was a lopsided series, and they go back down and beat them down there, and now they have some guys to sign, and there's kind of some interesting things going on financially with that organization, and I'm just curious if they're going to be able to be that team that kind of has they've dominated the Seahawks at times. So I'm curious to see, what kind of a team. And as you mentioned, the whole season is sandwiched by those two matchups.
Yeah, so for those that haven't seen the schedule yet, I'll do the rundown here. So you open the preseason with the Raiders at home. You got the Chiefs at home, and then you're on the road against Green Bay to wrap up the preseason. That's your schedule there. And then you open the season September 7th at home with the San Francisco 49ers. Then you've got a road game going up against DK Metcalf and the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mason Rudolph. I don't know. I don't know. Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? We don't know who's going to be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you face them in week 2. So some interesting matchups right out of the gate. That one's Sunday, September 14th. Then you're at home with the New Orleans Saints. And then you've got your first primetime game, and that's Thursday Night Football on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. Then you follow that Sunday, the following Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then you're on the road against Jacksonville. Then you've got a Monday night game. So you got 4 primetime games. The second primetime game is a home game, Monday Night Football against the Houston Texans. So that's pretty cool. We'll see C.J. Stroud and the crew come into to Lumen Field, see what they're all about this year. Then you got the bye week. This feels like a good spot for the bye. It's not too early. I tend to like them later. I don't know how the players feel, but just as a fan, I'm thinking I sort of like after they've had a number of games under their belt, they really need a break. So I don't know. Do you like it in this spot, or would you like to see it a little later?
Well, no, I think it's fine. It just seems to me like the bye week every year works out. It's like, oh, we got a guy that could use 1 more week's rest, and it's in week 4, and then he can come back in week 5, and so I don't know. I don't think there's ever been a time looking back where like, wow, it was rough with the bye week, but because there's always guys getting hurt, and you always need extra time. But yeah, I mean, I think it's probably pretty safe right there in the middle. If you ask 90% of coaches, I think, in the NFL would say, yeah, make it somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, October 26th is the bye week. So then they come back November 2nd on the road against the Washington Commanders, followed by a home game against the Cardinals. Then you're back on the road against the Los Angeles Rams. Then you've got another road game against Mike's beloved Tennessee Titans, who have how many former Seahawks on that roster right now?
Ooh, at least a baker's dozen. I mean, I think there are literally 6 or 7 on there.
It's amazing.
It'll be a fun reunion.
Okay, that's like a half a baker's dozen. But
well,
anyways.
Half a baker's dozen. You're right. It's at least half a baker's dozen.
By the way, that Commanders game after the bye week is Sunday Night Football. So
yeah, and
that's another primetime game.
A lot of that that whole team is just littered with ex-Seahawks. I mean, you've got
the Titans.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Commanders.
Oh,
yeah, you got Bobby Wagner re-signed there, I believe, for a pretty reasonable amount. Then you've got a couple of guys that now work there, Scott Fitterer, and I think who's the other one? There's another executive, but also coaches like their head coach, obviously. So yeah, that'll be kind of an interesting one. I've never been to Washington, to that stadium, and not that anybody cares about that, but I will be checking my box there. And
don't sell the audience short. They're very happy that you're going to finally be able to go watch the Commanders in their building.
Absolutely sure they are. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to be in that stadium and everything, and there's going to be a lot of connections there before. They always do that. There's always a segment in the media book that they put out before the games, and it's like, okay, these guys were here, cross path with this guy, and there's going to be a lot of names.
Yeah, it's interesting because they've got primetime games back to back. They got a bye week in between them, but the 2 games that you play, your final game before the bye is the Houston Texans. That's Monday Night Football here in Seattle. Bye week, then on the road against the Commanders on Sunday Night Football. So first half of the season, roughly that first half, you've got 3 primetime games.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then after that, again, Cardinals at home on November 9th. Then you're on the road for 2 weeks in a row. Rams, followed by the Tennessee Titans. And then you've got the Minnesota Vikings at home. So we'll see Sam Darnold go up against his former team in the Minnesota Vikings on November 30th. Then you're on the road against the Falcons, December 7th. December 14th, Colts come to town. And then your final primetime game is the Los Angeles Rams coming to town Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, and that may be a very telling game, depending on how they develop. But I feel like the Rams are always going to be sort of a thorn in their side. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and then you've got to close it out. Final 2 games of the season, both on the road. Now, date and time says to be determined. So we'll see what happens with that. But they're both road games. So second to the last game on the road against the Carolina Panthers. And then, as we said, you open the season with the Niners at home. You close the season with the 49ers on the road.
Yeah.
So what's grabbing you here besides the primetime games? They've got, I don't know if people still will lean into the 10 a.m. thing. That's been killed, right? We don't talk about that anymore.
It's a great point. I mean, no, really. I mean, we used to talk about that, and it was a big deal. And I remember people writing articles. I mean, this was as much as 8 to 10 years ago. And
I hated that.
Yeah,
I hated that. Well, it was such an excuse. And I remember clear as day talking to you about it before we were even doing a show together. And I think we were doing something on the air. And you're like, look, I just knew what game time was. It didn't matter where we were at. I never felt different. I didn't feel like, it's taking me a quarter to really get my energy up here. I don't feel right. And we had somebody text in and go, Dave doesn't understand what's happening with his body. I'm like, well, between the two of you, one of you has played at that level on the road, and the other guy is you texting. So I'm gonna lean toward the guy that actually lived it, did it, traveled, played at different times, and I'm sure maybe everybody's unique. Maybe there were some players that did feel that way, but you talked about it many, many times. Yeah, the 10 a.m. thing is not a thing.
You know what, though? If they did text that in now, I would say, yeah, they're right, because I don't know what's going on with my body at this age. But, yeah, I mean, I just remember thinking, like, I don't even know what time it is back home. I can't do the math, okay? I mean, it didn't really resonate with me. But people have said, I mean, look, why was Pete Carroll he made such a big deal about that? I think Mike is much more businesslike, and does everything. But if you look, like, number one, you go on the plane, there's these little placards that whenever you're flying more than, a couple hours, it's like, here's how to hydrate. Don't sleep on the plane. Wait till you get there. I mean, all kinds of different little things. So, yeah, physiologically that can – and I think – I just remember thinking at some point lots of people were doing, all of these studies on and looking at the records and things like that about, what happens in these games where they're having to travel east and all that. And, it just became all of a sudden not a thing. And remember, Pete had that ridiculous record where – it was like
he was crushing 10 a.m. games.
Yeah, it was like 7-2, and then the next year it was like 6-2 or something like that. So, yeah, they figured that part out, and so yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, just because it's not a thing anymore. Nobody talks about it or it being a disadvantage. So, yeah, and I'm looking at the game at Carolina. It seemed like for a while there we were going to Carolina a lot, or we played them a lot. They used to be a team, during the run that the Seahawks had up until like 16, 17, it just seemed like, the big Cam Newton matchup and everything. But that'll be interesting to go back out there with a former coach in charge out there, former Seahawk coach. So yeah, that'll be interesting. And just to me, the bookend San Francisco, that one. That those two games I think are going to be really interesting, just to see where the Seahawks are. And I think this year it might be the tougher challenge might be the Rams, just based on what we saw last year. So yeah, those stand out to me. But other than that, we just went to Atlanta last year, played the Vikings at home. Those two are pretty familiar. Got the Indianapolis Colts. Are you a fan of them too, Mike? I believe you lived in Indianapolis at one point.
That's a Titans rival, so I'm not a fan
okay,
of
you're not. All right.
The one team I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, but also, I think the DK one, I mean, there's so many, we know this from this show that there's a ton of people that hate DK, and then there's a lot of people that have defended him, and I think it'll be an interesting matchup and see if he gets in a fight with any of our defensive backs or anything like that. And
who would it be? Spoon?
Yeah, maybe.
He would be my first thought just because he's so vocal.
That might be the worst matchup as far as size, and they're not in the same weight class.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
That wouldn't be a fair fight. But just in terms of a dust up, like I could just see Spoon barking at him and DK barking right back. And
yeah,
I don't know. Does Reek talk much?
I don't know. Yeah, he doesn't seem to. But yeah, it's kind of funny that Spoon, he doesn't seem like the fighting type, but he is somebody that can annoy you. But let's not forget that, like, Spoon's pretty physical, man. You saw him knock some people out, and he's a hard tackler, and I don't see him backing down to anyone. But yeah, that'll be something we'll probably get into before that matchup.
What if
who's going to fight DK?
Yeah, what if he busts one, man, for some 70-yard touchdown grab, just blows by everybody in the secondary, and all the people that said, he's a diva, they're going to be texting in, I can't believe we let that guy go.
That's right. We're going to have to check some history of some of the texters.
Guaranteed you're going to see it.
You're going to see people, I hate him, he sucks. Oh, look at him.
Yeah,
it'll definitely be that.
First text will come from Mike Salk. I never liked the idea of letting that guy go.
Yeah.
I always wanted him to stay here.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting test, right? I mean, right out of the gates. I have no idea who's going to be the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And by the way, you guys can text in 866-979-3776. Weigh in on the schedule. What do you like? What don't you like? Are you fearful of 10 a.m. games? Do you like that they've got 4 primetime games? And again, right in the middle of the season, they're kind of sandwiched the primetime games. You've got October 20th is a Sunday or a Monday night game here in Seattle. You got a bye week, and then you come back for a primetime game Sunday night football on the road against the Washington Commanders. So I thought that was a pretty interesting aspect, along with the 49ers bookending the season. You open at home with the Niners. You close the season on the road with the Niners. But what else is standing out to you? You like the schedule. You don't like it. 10 a.m. games. You're fearful. What's on your mind, Seahawks fans? 866-979-3776, powered by Mac and Jack's Brewing Company, or was. I'm sorry, that's not the case anymore. But looking at are there any of these teams outside of their division, looking at like the Texans, looking at the Jags, looking at even Tampa Bay, the Titans? Is there a team you're looking forward to seeing that we don't see that often?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Colts is kind of interesting. I mean, we haven't played them in a while. It was a few years ago. That was the one where our receiver that got the concussion on the sidelines, trying to remember his name.
Eskridge?
Eskridge, yeah. And I can't remember I think we lost that game, but yeah, that's always kind of an interesting one. But
I have to say, I am kind of curious to see the Titans, not because of Lefko, but just to see what does Cam Ward look like?
Right.
What does he look like? Is he going to be the answer there? And obviously see some former Seahawks out there, but I'm curious to see the number 1 overall pick. How's he looking at that point of the season? Because you'll be past the halfway point of the season, assuming he's healthy. He's got time under his belt, so you'll start to get a sense of what kind of quarterback he is. Mm-hmm. So that one kind of stands out to me a little bit.
Yeah, a couple interesting ones that I would bring up. New Orleans, because you've got that entire offensive staff here now, and whether or not their defense is going to be able to maybe give Kubiak a little bit of trouble, kind of knowing and being familiar.
And who's their quarterback going to be?
Yeah,
because Carr just retired.
Right.
You got Radler, you got Hayner, and you got Shuck.
Yeah, they just drafted Shuck.
Don't you believe they got to bring in a veteran?
Yeah,
somebody that's going to just.
That would be 2 teams that we need to. And Pittsburgh, the other team.
And that's back-to-back weeks. So you got Pittsburgh as of now. We don't know who their quarterback is, and then that's followed by the Saints here in Seattle. As of now, I don't know if any of those 3 are going to be the ones starting. I feel like they don't want to throw the young kid in there right out of the gate. I don't. Yeah. And the other guys aren't that experienced, so I don't know. That's a weird situation. That doesn't feel like a great situation.
Yeah, and then the other one that I was looking at was certainly Tennessee, just because of the ex-Seahawks down there. But I was going to say Minnesota coming here. Is C.J. McCarthy going to be there? I'm very curious to see, just because the things that you hear about him. He didn't play.
J.J. McCarthy.
I'm sorry, J.J. He didn't play a lick last year, right?
Yeah.
And so, but yet when you talk to executives around the league, they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's no way Minnesota's going to trade that guy away." I'm like, "Really? That guy? I mean, what have we seen? What is it?" And you hear really good things about him, but that'll be an interesting one. Playing, like you said before, against Sam Darnold's whole team. Did you get a chance to talk to Sam Darnold the other day?
Oh yeah. I spent a fair amount of time talking to him. Good dude.
Yeah. It's amazing that you guys decided to have that party while I was gone.
Yeah, it was all under our control, too.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
apparently it was.
Yeah, they called me and said, when should we have this party? I said, when is Dave going to be gone?
Look at Dave's
Let's do
vacation.
it that day. Dave's on vacation, so we had that party with Sam Darnold and Schneider and Mike McDonald, and then we had Dylan Moore up in the booth. We got it all.
Yeah, what the heck is going on?
We couldn't quite get Cal Raleigh up here. That would have been the perfect trifecta, but didn't happen. But you guys can somebody said the schedule looks really soft, 206. The schedule looks really soft. I'm seeing at the very least 13 wins for the Hawks. At the least.
Whoa.
That's lowballing. They might go undefeated, I think the 206 feels.
Right. Well, good for them. They're excited.
And then 509 said, who the hell is C.J. McCarthy?
Yeah. You know what I meant.
Yeah, I know.
I get him and C.J. Stroud mixed up, who we also we'll see. And I
That's a
think
prime time game, yeah.
that's going to, Monday night game. I think that one will be very interesting. That's a good team. I felt like they should have gone further than they did. And, they've got a well-built team. I think D'Amico Ryans is one of the better head coaches in the league. And he's another defensive guy, much like Mike McDonald. So, yeah, that will be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Mike, are you a big fan of Houston as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
As
you lived
well.
there.
Yeah.
As he knocks
I
over
don't.
his water bottle.
I've never lived in Houston.
You never did.
No.
But you lived in Texas, so
Yeah.
it just.
So does that mean I like the Cowboys too?
No.
Well, it wouldn't be surprising.
By the way,
You would
Nashville,
like
though,
the best team. Whoever's got the better record.
So
is
the
who you-
Cowboys have 4 Thursday primetime games. They're playing on both Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's kind of
wow.
weird. Yeah.
Well, that's what you get for being America's team.
Do they have Monday night
You get
games or
screwed.
Sunday night? Or they're just doing
I don't know. They made a note they had a lot of Thursdays. I would assume, but yeah, they're playing the Chiefs on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
That's
4
strange.
primetime games is about right. And the other thing that happened while you were gone, Dave, is they unleashed the international schedule, and to my delight, the Seahawks were not on it. I know you were on the other side of that, wanting to go to London or wherever the game was going to be, but
Yeah.
I as a fan, I didn't want
You
that.
want to get up at 4:00 in the morning? I can't see why.
Well, there was that part of it, but these players, Dave, they don't know what it's doing to their body.
Yeah,
They don't know.
that's right.
Ask the texters; they'll tell you.
No, it's so weird. I never held that in any kind of regard whatsoever. I don't remember. You're young, and also you're an ass kicker, right?
Yeah.
Not anymore. Not anymore. But back then, yes. I mean, you just game time. Let's go. So anyway, yeah, that. But I thought it was interesting you brought that up just because I don't. It's been since you and I have been doing. I don't know if we were doing the same show together, but I just remember at one point talking, endlessly about the schedule, and that was the first thing that you looked for. How many East Coast games?
Yeah.
It was kind of like a panic, right?
It always felt like such an excuse to me, though. Yeah, they
Yeah.
lost some game, but you lost 1 p.m. games too. So is that
Right.
is that a body clock thing? I mean, some of those games you lost. It felt like an excuse to chalk it up. Well, they're East Coast time. Their body's not used to it. That's why they lost. No.
Yeah. Well, and here's another
you got
thing.
beat.
How about you're down on the field warming up for the game before the 10 a.m. start, and you hit somebody in the head? You're awake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that never made any sense to me. But it just whenever this day came around, and so if you want to, I mean, we have a couple of TBDs, but there's at Atlanta is a 10 a.m. game.
So we'll see Michael Penix presumably in that game.
Right. Yep. I'll be interested to see that. And then you've got the Mike's beloved Titans, 10 a.m.
Here's something weird, actually. I didn't notice till some texters pointed this out. So that Monday night game against the Texans is at 7 o'clock and on ESPN Plus. So that's kind of
What?
strange. It has been relegated to
ESPN.
not
ESPN
exactly
Plus.
prime time. Yeah.
Well,
That's not the funnest.
Is that one of those goofy 2 games in one night?
Maybe it is.
Is that what's going
That's
on?
a late start. That's a 10 p.m. Eastern time kick.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
7
on-
o'clock here.
it is. Yeah. How
And
about
it's on the ESPN Plus?
at
Wow.
Arizona Prime Video? It's your favorite, right? You like that
No,
one?
I don't like anything that I have to
Don't like that
log
one.
on to watch it.
And also
I want to hit the on button, Dave, and then punch
I-
in the channel number, and I'm off.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. And then the other one, luckily is a home Prime Video, Los Angeles, the Rams on December 18th. That's also a Prime Video, but you don't have to worry about that because
Yeah.
you're going to be watching it in person.
ESPN Plus. I didn't even notice that. Wow, that's just that's the B game. I bet you there's another game that day, Lefko. It's one of those doubleheader.
Well,
Monday night.
I don't like it. That means we have to work still, Bob.
Well, the pregame
Usually when
show
it's
usually starts a
Lefko,
few
no,
hours before.
It'll be at 4 instead of at 2 when there are those 5:20.
What would you do
Kickoffs.
without work?
I don't know.
He would run in circles. He'd chase his tail around his apartment the whole day long.
All right. Hey, a reminder, if you missed any part of our show or you just want to go watch things over again, you can check out our Wyman and Bob channel on the Seattle Sports YouTube page. You can search Seattle Sports on all social media platforms. Find all of our segments, our interviews, like the one that's coming your way next. He's been a key part of this Mariner lineup. The onslaught, certainly with the onslaught of injuries, he's been crucial. Leo Rivas, you're going to hear that conversation coming your way next as we continue live from T-Mobile Park. It's Wyman and Bob, Seattle Sports on 710.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs head Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What does the release of River Craycraft say about the wide receiver room?
It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing for Craycraft because he's a Coug, a solid player in this league, right? Just a consistent practice squad, special teams. But it also shows that they are interested in some young talent over there, 6'1", 185. So there's competition in that receiver room.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman here from my new friends at Harley Exteriors. They're a local company serving all of Western Washington for the past 23 years. And I'm really excited to work with Harley Exteriors because they're my kind of people. I had Ray, Chris, and Nick out to my house just to see what they could do for us. You see, we've been in the same home for 24 years, and virtually every window in our home has a broken seal. So Harley Exteriors, they have a exclusive high-quality Eurovinyl Olympic Series window, and it's manufactured right here in Washington. And these windows are designed specifically for homes in the Pacific Northwest, helping to maximize energy, efficiency, and beauty. And it's a window you can trust to last the life of your home. It's very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And right now, through the month of May, buy 3 windows and get 1 free. So Harley Exteriors, they're big fans of the station, and they're excited to work with our listeners. And I'm proud to be working with Ray, Chris, and Nick at Harley Exteriors. It's a team that you can get behind. So get in touch with Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more. They're right here in the Puget Sound. Give them a call at 833-HARLEY. That's 833-HARLEY. Or you can go to harleyexteriors.com.
Seattle's iconic Bumbershoot Arts and Music Festival returns Labor Day week, August 30th and 31st, lighting up the Seattle Center with 2 days of nonstop music, art, and creativity. This year's lineup includes Weezer, Janelle Monáe, Bright Eyes, Car Seat Headrest, Diggable Planets, Aurora, Sylvan Esso, and more. Come celebrate what makes Seattle weird, wonderful, and wildly creative. Bumbershoot, where art and sound collide. Plus regional artisanal food and craft beverages. Get your tickets now at bumbershoot.com.
Hey, get in. What? Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Yeah. Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Brandy Cruz. Hey, Brandy, why? Why First Mark Insurance?
Service. I wondered for a second whether I was getting the VIP treatment. And I kind of asked, hey, is this what you do for everyone? And they're like, of course. The whole First Mark Challenge is meant to be personal, right? So it really is tailored and meant to be a personal experience for every single person. I will say I've just done whatever is the quickest and cheapest type of insurance. And I realized while I was doing it, wow, this is what it feels like to get insurance as a real adult. We had a million questions and they walked us through every step of the process. And then they're working for you. So they're not working for insurance companies, they're working for you. To experience that level of service really shows you what the difference is with First Mark.
Brandy did it. My family did it. You got to do it. It's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge. See how much money they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Go to firstmarkinsurance.com.
Hey, Mike Salk here with special guest Ryan Roland Smith. And we love having Hyphen on the show to talk a little baseball. But today, talking about something a bit more personal, yet really exciting. Hyphen, share all the good news.
Thanks, Mike. Look, I've been hearing for about 2 years now how you did the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan and how you lost a ton of weight. I decided to see what the program was all about, and I'm so glad I did. So far, I've lost 30 pounds in just 60 days, and my only regret is not starting sooner.
Well, I'm happy for you. What's been the best part of the program so far?
Honestly, how simple it's been. There's no crazy exercises, no counting calories or scary shots or injections, no side effects or any of that stuff. I feel healthier, I'm sleeping better, I'm eating delicious meals, and the accountability plus communication from the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic team has made it fun.
Man, that is awesome, buddy. Would you recommend it?
Yes. To anyone listening, I was in your shoes. Just schedule a 15-minute consult at Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. It's all you have to do to start.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We're live at T-Mobile Park. It's Wyman and Bob, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com. Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. We just went through the entire Seahawks schedule. You guys can weigh in on what you think of it. You like it? You think it's strong? It's weak? They should win 13 games at least, said one texter. Minimum 13. So you guys can weigh in on that. Meanwhile, the Mariners wrapped up their homestand, and it was not a good homestand at all. You got swept by the Blue Jays. You dropped 2 of 3 to the New York Yankees. We did catch up with Leo Rivas, who's been one of the bright spots on offense this year, just in terms of getting on base at a ridiculous clip. He's a guy that certainly contributed. We had a chance to catch up with him after today's game. Here's what he had to say.
Before we get into what happened on the homestand and everything, let's just talk about you and your season. I mean, you're getting on base at a ridiculous clip. Did you work on anything in particular in the offseason in terms of patience at the plate or just the way you're seeing the ball right now? Just talk about how your season's gone.
No, I feel like I'm not going to say like I always been like that, but it's been like getting better through the years, like getting more patience, getting my pitches, the one that I'm looking for, I'm just trying to see that every day beat now.
How much have the coaches helped? I heard Seitzer today talking about your core and engaging it. And is it just about things that they say? What have you heard from them that has helped you out a little bit?
I mean, it's different for every people, but for me, they help me to maintain every more simple at the box. So hitting is hard, though. Like you can tell. So they just say, hey, man, just simple size everything. Don't try to do too much. Just say through the middle, get line drive, and all that kind of stuff.
How hard is it when you're not playing every day? You had a stretch where you were in there almost every day, and then kind of a stretch where we hadn't seen you for a bit. So how hard is it to keep that rhythm going?
I mean, I won't say it's not like easy. No, it's not even hard either. You got like cage during the game so you can, stay warm. So just stay focused on the game, watch the pitcher, what they're doing, just try to get focused on that, and you'll be fine, I think.
How much has the mental part, understanding the game, because you can't get too high, you can't get too low, there's always a game the next day. When did you kind of learn that in your career, to not get too emotional about wins and losses?
My mom always told me, though, like, be humble, even when you're doing good or when you're doing bad, you got to keep humble. So I just keep that on my mind every day.
Well, what's the mindset of the team? I mean, this has been a tough homestand, obviously, with the Blue Jays and then dropping 2 of 3 to the Yankees. What's the confidence level? What's the vibe in the clubhouse?
No, the vibe is still high though. You know, we lose, we win. It's part of the game. We just gotta keep continuing competing every day, and we go into San Diego. I think it's a new how you say that, new series, and we just gotta go there and compete.
It's got to be tough just seeing your teammates get hurt. I mean, it seems like for this team, it's been a tough stretch as far as the injuries go. But like, it's always next guy up, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks every time though, because you got your teammates getting hurt when they been good. So we just gotta take care of each other and got their back also, you know. So we're doing this for them too.
How different has it been for you guys just as an offense, where the offense has been carrying this team for the good part of this season? I mean, yesterday Wu was great, Castillo was great today, but it's been up and down, injuries, so the offense has been producing. Do you guys feel the need, like, all right, we're missing some of our guys, we got to step it up?
I feel like every game, even if they're not in the lineup, we just, you know, gotta do our best, no matter if they're hurt or not. So we just try and compete every day, man, and try to do our best. So every day is a new game, every day is a new day, so we just gotta go there and compete.
Does sometimes going on the road help you clear your mind a little bit? And what kind of, do you relax on the road? Do you go golf? Do you try to get things in? What's your routine?
I don't golf though at all. I'm really bad at golfing. I play video games a lot, so that's kind of like my thing, you know. Play baseball, go to the room after, and just play video games, just to get my mind right, you know.
What video games you playing?
I play Call of Duty.
Oh, okay.
I play Call of Duty a lot. Yeah, that's my main game.
So are you on, like, with other people you can connect, and do you ever identify who you are? Or are you being
No, I have a weird name on there. Okay. So yeah, I have a weird name on there. I play with most of my teammates. Yeah. We play together, but no, they don't know who I'm at yet.
You guys talk smack to each other about during the
Yeah, all the time.
Who's the best? Who's the best?
Who's the best? Me.
You?
Yeah, I'm the best. You can ask everybody. Yeah.
Well, Leo, we appreciate it, man. We wish you the best of luck in San Diego, and hopefully we'll talk again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
There you go. There's Leo Rivas, who was 1 for 3 today. He had one of the 6 Mariner hits. He's got his on base is still fantastic. 455.
Unbelievable.
333 average, 455. I mean, he doesn't have pop. He's got no home runs, but he's a guy. He's there to be driven in. He's getting on base, finding his way on base, which is huge.
Are you surprised that he hasn't had any home runs after having interviewed him?
No.
He is not a big guy.
He's a little dude.
That's the thing I love about baseball, honestly. I mean, you see, I mean, I was looking at Cal walking around. I mean, he's got to be like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
I mean, he is a big dude. And what is he? He's got 5 stolen bases now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's still a guy that they don't pay a ton of attention to because he's not likely to run. He's becoming more and more likely, but you're looking at a catcher going, all right, I'll give him a look over, and now I'm going to focus on the pitch I'm throwing. So he's, to his credit, he's taking advantage of it. I love it.
Well, and Mike and I were talking about that during the game, and it was like, I'm guessing they're not sending him because of his blazing speed, okay? But the thing is, like you said, nobody expects it. And then the other thing is, he can read pitchers. I mean, he knows exactly if that guy's taking too much time, because he's probably back there complaining about whoever it is. And I don't know who has the longest delivery. Is it maybe Castillo, or I'm trying to think as far as, you know.
Well, they're all on the pitch
timing.
clock.
Well, no, I'm talking about
you're talking
the
about
timing.
Getting,
you know, as far as getting the ball to the plate and him getting an opportunity to throw somebody out. So
yeah, some guys are better at holding runners on than others.
Right. And he knows who those guys are. So yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that's why. And I think Mike said that the record here for catchers is 7 stolen bases. So he can break his skipper.
Who holds that? Is that Dan Wilson?
Yeah.
Blazing Dan Wilson.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, well, you got to give Eric Young Jr. credit. He's your first base coach over there. He's the one over there with the stopwatch. He's timing his delivery. You know, once he starts the windup, getting the ball to home plate, he's timing it. He's gonna give him a good heads up on what's happening out there. But yeah, 5 stolen bases for Cal. That was cool to see. Julio Rodriguez is just kind of quietly doing his thing. He's creeping up. Yeah. You look at his average in the month of May. He's hitting the way you want him to hit. He just lasered that ball opposite field today with that double. I mean, he just squared that thing up. And then it looked like he had a home run later in his, I think, was it the next bat or the one out? Later after that. He looked like he got a hold of it. And it
sounded like it, too.
Yeah, just got under it just a touch.
But, I mean, you can't say enough.
When he made the brilliant defensive play.
In the outfield.
Robs the home run right out of the gates to open the game.
That whole no-fly zone, I remember thinking, well, you know, that's getting kind of hyped up. It's absolutely for real, man. He's incredible. I didn't think he had that one for a while.
Yeah,
because I was watching on TV. I wasn't here yet, and you know, you couldn't really tell if he had it other than his reaction.
Yeah, he let you know pretty quickly he had it. You know,
it was phenomenal.
Well, the other night, I can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday night, he had one bounce off of his mitt for a home run.
Yeah,
he jumped up and it just right off the end of the fingers of the glove, and it just you could see him sitting there like he was mad.
But that's another one of nobody else would have got to that. I mean, most center fielders probably wouldn't have gotten to that, right?
Yeah, his
range is amazing.
I give him credit again, despite his offensive struggles, he has not taken it into the field with him. So he was a bright spot today, in a day where there just weren't many bright spots. There weren't many bright spots throughout the homestand. You dropped 5 of 6. It was dreadful. But Polanco had a hit today. Julio with that 2 RBI double. Cal had 2 hits, and Tavares and Rivas. So you had 6 hits, 15 strikeouts. So they got to get the ship righted. But the problem is you got a tough opening to this road trip. The Padres are a very good team in a very good division. And you're going to face off against them, and you're shorthanded. You're shorthanded as far as your pitching goes because now Bryce Miller's on the IL. You don't have Kirby. You don't have Logan. Now you don't have Bryce. And it was great. I'll tell you this. It was great to see Castillo pitch the way he did today because it felt like there was one guy in this rotation that you really could count on. And I'm taking Logan Evans out of it because he's a young guy. He's made 3 starts. He had the best start of that whole Blue Jays series. Out of the 3 that went, his was the best. Bryce was the worst. Castillo got touched up. He was not good. His was the best. They all went 5 innings. They all walked 2, and they all struck out 3. It was the weirdest, and they all had 1 home run given up. It was the weirdest consistency throughout that. But he gave up 3 runs. The others gave up, I think, 5 and 7 in that series. So pitching is going to be interesting to watch. It doesn't sound like the Bryce thing is too detrimental. They don't sound too worried about it, just a little inflammation. So hopefully he'll be ready to go once the road trip is over. But yeah, they're the walking wounded end. J.P. Crawford wakes up with a stiff shoulder today and gets scratched he's a late scratch from the lineup. Hopefully that's just a one-day thing. I mean, that's on the heels of him coming up with a game-winning hit. And we'll see what it looks like. I would imagine he'll be out there, but we'll talk more about that. Mariners injuries just piling up in a very big way, and we're going to talk more about what it means to this team moving forward. That is coming up with Wyman and Bob live from T-Mobile Park. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
Most of the lists I've seen for the Seahawks, at least in terms of where the league views them, have not been great. What are the encouraging signs?
The encouraging lists are top running backs of 2026 free agent class. Top right tackles in 2026 class, there's Abe Lucas. Top edge rushers in 2026 class, there's Boye Mafe. By position, you know what you see, Salk? A Seahawk, a Seahawk, a Seahawk, a Seahawk.
Every day at 7:45, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See with the full details and disclaimer.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com. Seattle's iconic Bumbershoot Arts and Music Festival returns Labor Day week, August 30th and 31st, lighting up the Seattle Center with 2 days of nonstop music, art, and creativity. This year's lineup includes Weezer, Janelle Monáe, Bright Eyes, Car Seat Headrest, Diggable Planets, Aurora, Sylvan Esso, and more. Come celebrate what makes Seattle weird, wonderful, and wildly creative. Bumbershoot, where art and sound collide. Plus regional artisanal food and craft beverages. Get your tickets now at bumbershoot.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later on your timeline. No showings, no double moves. Plus, Orchard handles all home repairs for you, attracting buyers. Buy before you sell and get top dollar with Orchard. Visit Orchard.com for your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
One of the greatest bands in rock history, The Who, present The Song Is Over, the North American Farewell Tour. See Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey, The Who, performing at Climate Pledge Arena September 25th. Pre-sale for City Card members begins Tuesday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. The Who, for the very last time.
Song is over.
For more, visit thewho.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob
Weekdays 2 to 7
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We continue live from T-Mobile Park. It's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com. Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776.
Should we start a farewell tour? The Wyman and Bob show farewell tour.
And then we'll end it 30 years from now?
Yeah.
Like the Who? First Who farewell tour, 1982.
Wow.
1982.
Yeah, we can just keep doing it. That was
43 years ago, they said, that's it for us.
I used to tease Kevin Kremen because he's just an awesome guy. Everybody loved Kevin Kremen. But, remember there was like, oh, it's his last year and it's his farewell tour. And I remember giving him crap about it. I was like, how long are we going to continue to celebrate this thing?
It's
why don't you just retire already?
Well, in his case, I don't think it did any – he didn't have the advantage of charging people money to see him on his farewell tour like these bands do, because it's just a common practice. You've got – Motley Crue signed contracts saying we will never tour again. They made a big fuss about a big press conference. We're going to sign contracts.
Right.
We will never tour again. And guess what? They've been touring for years since then. And Kiss has done in multiple farewell tours, and – it's what they do. Everybody goes, I got to go see him. This is it. This is going to be Ozzy did a tour called No More Tours Tour. And then he did a No More Tours Tour 2. And then, it's just a big money grab. But the Who,
I think this room is named after Kevin Kremen.
Is it?
Yeah. They've got a plaque up in here. He was just an awesome guy. He did such a great job and endeared himself to everyone. And I used to tease him about that. Like, when's it over, man?
Well, he'd be right up Lefko's alley because he was all about the food. When they'd go on the road, finding the places to eat, where's the good place to eat. Apparently, he was just dialed in, whatever city they were in. Like, here's where we're going. This is the spot. So
that's you in about 30 years, Lefko. All right.
What? Old or finding the food?
Both.
Yeah.
Well, I do the food part now.
Just think how many teams he'll have by then. He'll be like 2 cities removed from here. He's got the Seahawks, of course, the Mariners.
He's going to just have a jersey and a hat for every team in every league. Right. He's just going to be well covered. Meanwhile, we touched on this. Bryce Miller officially put on the IL earlier today. He's got right elbow inflammation. We played a cut while you were gone, and I'm not even kidding. We played it, and in my head I'm going, oh, we screwed it up. We're playing that same cut that you and I responded to, where it sounded like, oh, he's up in his head.
Right.
It was the same tone. It was the same words. It was the same message. It was like a repeat of that cut from 2 weeks previous. And it was a new one. It was him saying, you don't want it to get too mental about it. I just haven't felt good. I just haven't felt good going into my starts. And, something cropped up in the 3rd or 4th inning. I'm not going to get specific, but I just haven't felt good. It was just to a T what he had said weeks previous. So I'm glad they're doing something, because the idea of just continuing to run him out there when clearly he's not right physically and maybe mentally at this point.
Well, I just remember saying that, I hope it's mental. I hope it's not physical. And then, once you decided like it might be in his head, then you were like, I hope it's an injury because you can at least rehab that and get it fixed and everything. But it sounds like he just hasn't been feeling good the entire year. Pretty much.
And he said, we'll have to play him back to back one day just to see. You can see the difference, what difference you can spot between these two post-game cuts from him that were weeks apart, but it was the same exact verbiage. Everything was the same. So finally, they're putting him on the 15-day DL, right elbow inflammation. Jonathan Diaz has been recalled. Justin Hollander was on with Bump and Stacy. He said they do expect him to be available right after the 15 days are up. So he'll miss a couple starts. Look, you don't – it's not a great situation, but as I was saying earlier, it's not like you're losing Logan. Logan, the start he got taken out of, he was 9 up, 9 down. He was dealing in that game. You're like, oh, man, this is going to be one of those games for him. And then all of a sudden he doesn't come back out, and you're going, whoa, what's going on? That's not the case with Miller. He's been going out there getting touched up. He's walking a ton of people. He just has not looked right all season. So I'm not trying to say it's not a big deal to have him out of the rotation, but you're not taking out an arm that had been producing for you. So we'll see what, how they work the rotation in his absence. But, I don't know that you're like, I don't look at it like, well, now what do they do in that spot? Because you were getting this, this great start every fifth day. That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it makes you wonder, like, when does it stop, for God's sake? And I don't know, maybe other teams are feeling this way too.
this is the past couple of years of being healthy. It's just come around.
Yeah, I guess. But, I mean, you're just looking at how they're getting it done. I mean, today obviously didn't get the W, but, you got Mastroboni out there. You've got Tellez, which he kind of showed his range limitations a bit.
We had Solano yesterday.
Yeah.
Still...
And Tavares, who really, I was telling Mike during the game watching him, like, I didn't realize he was that fast.
Oh, he's still young. He's only 26.
Yeah.
He's an athlete.
I didn't think he was like a speed guy or anything, and
Yeah.
saw him cover. So, I mean, he looks good. It's just that, wasn't even on the team in spring training. And then you got Ben Williamson that I remember, and Rivas, but, playing shortstop. But Williamson, we were like, yeah, well, he's really good defensively, but not sure if, he's offensively up to snuff. So, yeah, I mean, you're getting it done with these guys, it's kind of, and then same thing with the rotation. It's just kind of the walking wounded.
Yeah, and it's, I'm just wondering, all right, what do they look like when they get back? When Logan gets back, and more importantly, Kirby, because I think there's an assumption like, oh, well, when Kirby gets back, all right, we're good. Well, maybe it's going to take him a few starts.
Yeah.
I know he's getting rehab starts.
Totally.
He's got one more rehab start. I believe it's on Friday. His first rehab start was good. The second one, not quite so good. He gave up 3 runs, walked 2, which is weird for him, but got his pitch count up to 54. We'll see what he does in his final rehab start, but, they may have a governor on him, have a, like, hey, we're not going to let him go past, I don't know, 80 pitches or what it would. They may have a number in mind, and depending on if there's some high stress innings, what have you. So point being, might be a bit before we see George Kirby at full strength,
right.
at full, sort of like they're doing with Brash right now. I'm not saying they're going to skip turns with him, but Brash, they're being very careful. They're not running him out there in back-to-back games. So you might see something like that where it takes a couple of starts before we see Kirby look like the Kirby we know and love. And he's also a guy that didn't have full spring training. That got cut short. He had obviously no start to the season, whereas Logan went through spring, had his start, so maybe his return to form is going to be a lot quicker.
Yeah, it's a mistake to think that you're going to get the Logan Gilbert, back in that first, maybe even the first couple starts. Same thing, with you got players coming off the IL for the Seahawks. Same type of deal.
All right, coming up, a couple of great baseball guests coming your way, John Morosi and Dylan Moore. You're going to hear those conversations coming up next with Wyman and Bob, live from T-Mobile Park at Seattle Sports on 710.
Brock and Salk.
A quick question / maybe unpopular take.
Yes.
I totally understand graduation gifts in high school.
Okay.
Here's $100. Here's this. Here's that. Like graduation gifts in college.
Why not? Almost more so. I think that would make sense.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you talked about setting someone up for the rest of their life. For the most part, you're going off for high school.
I mean, they've done
kids.
that with their degree. Like, God bless them. You think it's appropriate, like, collegiate graduation gift?
Because then you're actually, like, going out to start a real life.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports.
Mike Salk here, and luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. And this summer, you can experience the breathtaking Cascade views, the world-class dining and entertainment, and elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost relaxation. Plus, Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel's award-winning outdoor summer concert series is back with amazing artists like Hanson, Austin Jenks, Melanie Fiona, and POD. This summer, overlooking the beautiful Snoqualmie Valley, snocasino.com for tickets. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids.
accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. At your local Camping World.
See for full details and disclaimers.
Hey, get in.
What? Who are you? I'm future you.
Constipation with belly pain still coming back?
Yeah.
Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Seattle's iconic Bumbershoot Arts and Music Festival returns Labor Day week, August 30th and 31st, lighting up the Seattle Center with 2 days of nonstop music, art, and creativity. This year's lineup includes Weezer, Janelle Monáe, Bright Eyes, Car Seat Headrest, Diggable Planets, Aurora, Sylvan Esso, and more. Come celebrate what makes Seattle weird, wonderful, and wildly creative. Bumbershoot, where art and sound collide. Plus regional artisanal food and craft beverages. Get your tickets now at bumbershoot.com.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
I've never heard a person walk out of the stadium and say, wow, I wish that game would have included more weighting.
He is an endless source of baseball and hockey knowledge.
José Berríos, el lanzador de Puerto Rico en el Clásico Mundial de Béisbol.
Sean Morosi, every week with Wyman and Bob.
You're being serious with me right now?
Ryan, you know how much I love talking baseball. I could talk your ear off for hours, but lucky for you, we bring in this guy to take some of the pressure off of you. So you're just like, all right, enough questions, Bob, enough.
Yeah,
Talk to somebody else.
This guy, he's just tough to deal with, man. He's one of those guys in the game that, you know what, you have to have him on because he's kind of smart, but, man, just not a good person away from the field. Yeah. Oh, what's up, JP?
Hey, Ryan,
John Morosi.
Hey, let's not forget who found that lunch spot our first day in Taipei. Okay, let's not forget
Dude, we were walking around in circles, man, looking for this like hole-in-the-wall place in Taipei. This was in, when was this? In November? Yeah, November, right?
November, Premier 12,
God,
right.
Man, time flies. Yeah, November. We're walking around in circles, sweating too. Yeah. I'm like, JP, where are we going?
And he found it.
He found it. It was legit.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
I'm still, like, my stomach is still full from that meal.
It was a great meal and surpassed only by the quality of the company, my friend. Great to be with you then,
look at that.
and now as well.
We love it. We love talking baseball with John Morosi. Well, John, before we get into the what's going on with the Mariners and the Yankee series and what's been going on lately, I just want to get a quick reaction to the big news. Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson have been removed from MLB's permanently ineligible list. What's your feeling about that?
Well, a couple things. Number one, let's be clear about what it says and what it doesn't say. What it says is that it's now the interpretation of the commissioner's office and Commissioner Rob Manfred that ineligibility, that being on the permanent ineligible list, is a condition and status that exclusively refers to one's ability to be employed by a major league team or influence and be involved and associate with the Major League Baseball community in a direct. And so the interpretation now, therefore, means that that ineligibility expires at the time of a person's death. This does not mean, I stress, does not mean that Pete Rose is going into the Hall of Fame or is even likely going to go to the Hall of Fame. What it does mean, though, is that it's now a matter for the Baseball Hall of Fame to consider. And there is a mechanism in place where people who are part of the Historical Review Committee will consider the candidacy of Rose at the appropriate time. I believe it's 2 years from now. And we will see what happens at that point. It is far from a sure thing, in my estimation, that Rose would make it onto the ballot for that group, let alone be approved by 3/4 of that group. It's a very, very steep hill to climb. But now he has a path. And I understand the rationale of the commissioner's office in making this decision. I would not personally vote for Rose in my circumstance. I would not feel comfortable with voting him. And indeed, the baseball writers, when there was one brief time where via write-in there was some sort of gap in the system of how he was considered, there was a brief moment in time where he actually appeared on the writer's ballot and was not well supported at all. So I do not believe this means that he will posthumously be elected into the Hall of Fame. I could be surprised by that, but this strictly has to do with MLB's by-the-books ruling, and that's where it sits as of this day. It's certainly a day I did not expect would happen as recently as 6 months ago, but here we are.
So just to be clear for the listeners, that this ruling today does not mean that Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson are now on the ballot to be voted upon.
There is a process. So there is. I love the question because it gets into the really granular parts about the Hall of Fame that I quite enjoy talking about. So we now have what are called ERA committees. The colloquial description for a long time was the Veterans Committee, because that committee is a 12-person committee that, or 16, that includes a combination of Hall of Famers, historians, writers, executives who have been in the game for a long time. Someone like a Pat Gillick has been on committees like this in the past. And so there's actually a screening committee first to consider names from a particular era. The dividing line is up till 1980 and then 1980 to present. I would expect that Rose will be on the first of those because the Big Red Machine, he's a 1970s player for all practical purposes. So he'll be considered on that ballot, the one that deals with the pre-1980. So again, in December of 27, he'll be considered. And so that committee will vet that group. Even if he makes it onto the ballot, then you're going to need to have 12 of the 16 electors to say, yes, I believe he deserves a spot. And so I just think that because of the somewhat deep-seated issues with Rule 21, gambling on baseball, the Pete Rose case is familiar to many. I think it's still a significant uphill climb, but he has a pathway, which was not the case as recently as yesterday, and certainly for a long time I never thought we'd get to this spot. But Rose's attorneys have made an appeal. We know President Trump made statements in support of Rose's case. I suppose it's possible that played some role here, and now we have to wait a long time, a couple years, but at least Rose now has a path that he didn't have before.
JP, I've got a million questions about this, but I do want to switch gears with the Seattle Mariners and what we're currently seeing. A team last year that, arguably the best rotation in baseball. Now, all of a sudden, they're having some real struggles with this rotation. Can you see this team surviving and winning the AL West? Now, I know George Kirby and Logan Gilbert are coming back, but let's say hypothetically, let's say at best they stay mid-range in their pitching. And, Bryce is having all kinds of issues, so is Luis Castillo. Can this team still be a team that wins the AL West with the current state of the starting pitching that we're seeing, or maybe a little bit better than what we're seeing, but not the elite of what we saw last year?
I do not believe they can win with the status quo of their starting rotation. So one of two things has to happen. Either Kirby and Gilbert have to come back and be something close to themselves, not necessarily 100% of what the numbers have been in the past, but let's say 80 or 90%. Or Castillo and Miller have to really get going again. Or they've got to add somebody from the outside. And fortunately for them, there should be a number of arms available depending on which teams are willing to move different assets. I look at a team like potentially Minnesota, depending on how things play out with them. They've played better of late, certainly, but Pablo Lopez, the one-time Mariner prospect, is someone that I would keep an eye on. But the general statement is that I do not believe that the current path for this team will be enough. Now, there's still a way to improve internally, and I'm sure that as a coaching staff and as individuals, they're working towards that. But they're going to have to be better. And some would say, well, John, how is that true, given the fact that they've still been a leading team in this division for so long? And that's true. But I think we all see this and realize the current burden on the bullpen and the current burden on the lineup is probably not sustainable. Munoz is throwing, I think, way too often. Certainly hasn't been the case the last 4 days or so, but he really has a heavy workload. And I worry about the way in which the bullpen has had to be utilized to keep this team in games. The lineup has done a very admirable job of keeping them in games and helping them win, but I just think that they need some help, whether it's a short-term pitcher to have acquired from the outside as a pending free agent. They have the prospects to do it, but this is where we need to see, I think, a little bit of well-timed aggressiveness from the front office to make this a reality.
What's your take on what we've seen from Luis Castillo? He's the oldest in the rotation, the highest paid. He's the guy that's got the longest track record. You know what he's been and what he's capable of, but I felt like he's been solid for the most part this year. He's a guy that doesn't go deep. He's not a guy that gives you 7, 8 innings, anything like that. But this last start, he got touched up. He's walked a lot more. He and Bryce Miller lead the team in walks. Is velo's down? Are we just seeing a guy who's just the age is starting to creep in, or do you just look at this as I don't know, early season struggles? He'll find his rhythm. How do you view Castillo?
Probably a combination of the two, Bob, but I think you said a really important word, which is age. And Ryan, I'm sure, can speak to what every pitcher goes through at a certain point in their careers when they have to adjust, whether it's adjusting their in-between starts routine, adjusting their repertoire, adjusting how they prepare for a season in terms of their off-season work, which obviously it's too late to do that for 2025. But there often is a point for a pitcher, and it sometimes happens right around the age that Luis is right now, where adjustments need to be made. And that's what I see right now. He's not done. He's not finished. There's nothing that I'm seeing that would suggest that. But the command needs to get sharper. I think the pitch execution has to get sharper. There's some things where in terms of the stuff and the action on pitches, it can be really, really hard to improve upon that during the course of the season when you have to answer the bell every fifth day, and that's a difficult thing, and Ryan can speak to that. But the pitch execution and the consistency have to improve, and I think that maybe that means varying certain things as you get to be a pitcher now in his early 30s. He's still, I think, a good major league pitcher. Is he elite right now? He's not elite right now, but there is still a path to getting back. You look at someone like a Seth Lugo, who has been really creative in how he executes pitches. So there's a path, even in today's velocity-obsessed times, Bob and Ryan, there's a way to still be effective, and I just think that Luis is still going through it. Unfortunately, it's happening at the same time where They'd love to have Gilbert. They'd love to have Kirby. And George is, of course, getting closer. And Miller's walking a lot of guys. You can't walk this many guys. That is what has me a little more worried than I was maybe 10 days ago or so for this team. Is just you look at even a team with a decent lineup like Toronto, like a lot of runs scored. And last night, ton of runs scored. So that's the big test right now is this pitching staff going to throw enough strikes to be able to beat good lineups? And right now, it's an open question based on what we've seen the last 4 days.
Hey, JP, last year, I think it was May 3rd, Luis Ariz was traded from the Marlins, which was kind of strange to see a big name get traded in May. Do you feel like in 2025 this year that there could be some early trade deadline moves happening in May? And just going back to it, because you mentioned the fact that Mariners could essentially look externally to add Nam and stuff like that. But do you feel like there would be a lot of competition in May? And if so, how would that look for 2025?
Yeah, I do think it's possible that there are certain teams, the Marlins are one of them, that always seem to be open for business. The White Sox could be too, although interestingly, the White Sox rotation has now gotten younger and better to where I'm not really sure that I see a White Sox pitcher that will be available to everybody unless it's a really, really good baseball trade. The Mariners probably would have to give up one of their better young players in the system to get an impact starter at this stage. You look around and the prices tend to drop a little more as you get closer towards the deadline, at least for the pending free agent. A team like Pittsburgh, which has, I think, a solid rotation and may be able to move some of their pitching. Colorado is a fascinating case. Of course, they just fired Bud Black over the weekend. They hired Warren Schaefer, who's a longtime minor league coach and manager. I think he's got a great future, but it's going to be a hard team to manage right now. The Rockies are interesting. And on some level, you would say, well, sure, you should give up Marquez or give up Freeland because you clearly are not going anywhere right now in the National League West. But they're just worried about putting together a competent major league performance and having a major league product on the field to where I think they're going to have to be really cautious about when they pull the plug, so to speak, on actually making moves. So there are teams out there. The Marlins are one of them. The White Sox in the right deal, though I wouldn't look for it right now. The Pirates, I think the Marlins and Pirates are probably the two teams that I would look to that might be of the mind to make a move a little sooner. And then stunningly, how about the Baltimore Orioles? A team that we didn't think at all was going to be a seller. Maybe Tomoyuki Sugano becomes available. He was, of course, signed to a short-term deal with the Orioles, and I think he'd actually pitch really well in Seattle. He'd be a great fit in Seattle. So Sugano, again, the Orioles, because of their success last season, they cannot make a sell decision right now and start moving assets on May 13th. But I think as you get closer to the early days of July, maybe it becomes a bit more practical. And in fairness to the Mariners, Ryan, they probably want to say, listen, let's assess how we look once Gilbert and Kirby come back,
right,
and then we can determine how much of our minor league depth we're willing to move. So I think for now, for the Mariners, I think their focus has to be internal, maybe a waiver claim here or there, but the big-time shopping, I think, has to come later on in the process.
John, we always appreciate you, my friend. Thanks so much. Great stuff, and we'll do it again next week.
You got it, guys. Always enjoy it. Have fun tonight. Always exciting when the Yankees are in town, so can't wait to watch the game this evening.
Thanks, John.
All the best. Thank you.
There you go. There's John Morosi with us each and every week. Always a fun conversation. Now we turn to another guy we love talking to,
yes,
who made the sacrifice to come up into the booth with us. And he had to sit in an elevator with Mike Lefko, which could not have been fun for him. But Dylan Moore is here with us either way. We appreciate you, man. How are you?
Thanks for having me. It's cool to see this. I haven't seen this before.
You've never been up here before?
Never been up here.
Really?
That's so fun. When I was playing, I've never been up here before.
This is where the great Rick Riz sits. This is where Gary.
There's a lot of history in here.
Yeah, there's
cool.
a lot. Yeah, Dave Niehaus. This is a lot of history happening here. Dude, we'll get into what's gone on lately, but just your individual season, you're off to a career best. I mean, you hit 10 home runs last year. You've got 7 already. You're hitting 284 right now with a 330 on base. It feels like watching you look very comfortable up there. Did you do anything different in the offseason, approach, anything, or is it just, hey, I feel good?
Yeah, I definitely made some mechanical adjustments to my